global economy is going to take a hit, leading to a new low in this market cycle for the entire economy. And it is turning out to be much worse than the Great Recession. And why is it important for people in cryptocurrency world? Because we are looking at a new cycle of the economy and the entire financial sector. So the new cycle for crypto will be especially affecting the XRP too, and this is going to be huge. That being said, this needs to be considered why it is really important. The UN website is on maintenance. Now that's a lot to understand because a lot of things are happening in the background and we will find out soon. So watch till the end, because along with the informations related to these, you're gonna get charts, right? The charts related to XRP, the chart related to BTC, the pattern and trend, which we can really get to understand about the next cycle based on the previous cycle, but not just for XRP and BTC. It's actually based on the trend and pattern which was formed for BTC and what it really looked like for XRP now. So don't just miss that out and stay focused. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. If you actually saw value in this time, please do hit that like and subscribe button. If you would like to extend your support, you can use the Patreon, PayPal or the XRP wallet address given in the description below. Patreon link will actually allow you to get more value for your portfolio. You'll be having different assets, and if so, you can get the standard research and the quality of charts, research and other data we provide for XRP for all the assets which you have, precisely for the charts, which really matters when you are looking to trade this market, being an investor, and to understand where we are in the market cycle, right? First, let's look at charts, how the charts are showing us what is ahead. Now, these are comparison between trend and pattern. Now, why is this important? You have to actually get this perspective. This particular pattern, BTC made it before this cycle, meaning it made that particular pattern in 2014 to 2016, after which it went towards the upside like 100,000%. You really have to understand that. So if you are understanding this properly, say you are getting into that same chart, say for example you are looking at BTC on a long run, to understand how this actually made and how this can affect the XRP price. If we are analyzing that on a proper manner, say we jump into Bitcoin USD chart and we just look at the history. We just zoom out to get a maximum view. Say we get this thing, right? So if you really analyze this on a proper manner, you get to see this. First time, by that cycle, it went up like 1,700%. Then it corrected back, created that distributional pattern, went back, created this rounded bottom, which took a long time to go to the upside. Now here also you get a rounded bottom, but the duration, it was comparatively very low. Whereas here, if you look at that, it was a huge rounded bottom and then it blasted to the roof, right? It just blasted through the roof. So if you compare this 1,700, say let's put it like 2,000%, here you are getting 100,000%. So that's like 50x what you just did, right? 50,000 the previous thing. So if you understand that properly and look at XRP, say this is XRP chart, zoom out and understand this particular thing. Previously, what XRP did was 140,000x, and even if we are 140,000%, that's 1,400x. So even if we are going to repeat that, we would be reaching around $169, right? From our bottom, considering 0.11, 0.12, that area as bottom, depending upon which exchange you trade. Now, that's 140% without considering the 50x of the last fluctuation is taking us $169 per XRP. Now understand this well, that if it is 50x that one, imagine 170 times $170 per XRP, just for the calculation purpose. If you think that we have right now is $170 per XRP and into 50, so that would take like into 5 will be 850. Yeah, it should be somewhere around 8,500, 8,700 per XRP. Now that's, I know, huge price, but if you are someone who have been following XRP recently, you would be understanding that there was a lot of glitch showing $9,000 XRP, $7,800 XRP, $7,900 XRP, $8,000 XRP, and these calculations kind of go into that line. It's both in same line or a same page, so that it looks really well. Now, yeah, if you plot that, you kind of get too much of a value, too much of a fluctuation from where you are. Now, understand this, even if we are only doing what we did in the last cycle, this number 169 is actually a huge number. Now, why we actually are looking at these? You'll just look at this pattern here being formed on a weekly chart for Bitcoin on 2014 towards 2016 half. You get to see this particular pattern, right? And then the current pattern of Bitcoin looks like this: a U-shaped bottom recovery. Then if you consider this as accumulation, this is a reaccumulation phase in which BTC is pointing towards new high. It may reach 25,000 soon as we break to the upside. Now that's for BTC, right? On a longer span, if you look at on a shorter time span, say on a daily chart, you get to see this one. So that shows a cup and handle pattern, again showing a reversal to the upside. That's a bullish signal. Now, when we focus the same on XRP, what we are getting is something like this. Now, if you look, you had couple of touches here in the bottom, then it didn't actually come to the downside. It never tried the bottom until this particular point, right? So if you go back, look at BTC chart, you're saying you're kind of watching the same. Now, remember, this is on a 3-day chart, the gap, and here it's on a weekly. So if you understand that, we tried that area a couple of times, then for some time it didn't, right? From it's like almost it took around now 1 year from the Jan towards the September, then it retested that particular area. So it took 10 months, which really looks like a long gap in that particular aspect. But here we took much more than that to come down and retest that area. So what it did after retesting that area, it stayed there for some time and then made a U again in that U-shaped bottom pattern inside a pattern, and then went towards the roof. That means the resistance, tested that area for some time and then blasted through that. Now, if you understand this properly, the breakout, retest of that pattern again, and then boom to the upside, keeping all the moving average as the support until it went into a bubble territory. So what we are expecting now is really something similar. Now this is on a 3-day. If you actually put that on a weekly chart and look at it, you are going to get a clearer perspective comparison between both of them. But I hope majority of you actually understand what I'm trying to illustrate. Now, why is this type of technical analysis so important? We actually saw this one, right? United Nations is going on a maintenance, blah blah blah. There can be a lot of things. This is just speculation from my end, but I think the speculation is valid. August 20th, 2019, you get to see this. United Nations agency cites XRP in a report on financial inclusion. And if you go back a bit, January 2019, United Nations confirms piloting Ripple's cross-border payment technology. And what are we really looking at as of now? Global recession, right? The recession is actually diving much deeper, creating new lows for the entire economy, creating a hell lot of losses, job loss, economic loss, everything. Banks are having worse time as well when the crypto is kind of bottoming out and turning to look like, yeah, we are the king. It's not just about one XRP, it's about the entire market, because not everyone understand the current market. So how can I explain this? Say, yeah, if you just look at, for example, a crypto channel which talks about various cryptocurrencies, BTC mainly, or in general, you can see, say, maybe 200, 300,000 subscribers or much more. Whereas if you look at just XRP, the biggest channel I think is DAI, digital asset investor, which has around 80,000. So you can see that perspective and difference, how many understand XRP. Not everyone understand XRP. So not everyone is going to enter just into XRP during this type of alternative investments. When people look for alternative investments and they see digital assets, it can take most of the boats in this tsunami. We won't just have small waves, we're going to get tsunami of inflow of money towards digital assets, and that's what I'm really trying to put out. Now, to understand this correctly, look at the highlighted date. This is not just something which came out suddenly, like a black swan event. It's not like that. The majority of the economists, reputed guys, responsible guys, experienced investors, traders were talking about this. In 2018, 2019, by that time, Jim Rogers, Howard Marks, Rubini, a lot of people were actually talking about this particular stuff. We are going to get a huge recession leading it into economic depression in 1 or 2 years. They were stating that from 2018, 2019, and now we just got that. Just not right now, central banks, governments have a health crisis to put the weight on. They'll say it's not because of us, it's just because of this health crisis. It turned into an economic crisis. That's just their perspective. But what we can understand from experienced guys like Howard Marks, Jim Rogers, these guys are really someone who understand the market cycle. They are old enough and they have seen many market cycles and how all of them turned out. So what they state is really words of wisdom for us who really want to learn about this. And this time, if you look at them, say Robert Kiyosaki, Jim Rogers, they are all looking at alternative investment. Let it be gold, Bitcoin, whatever it is. They are looking at alternative investments. And if you look at countries, say India, or let it be any other countries, you have a lot of millennials, Gen Z, new guys entering into investments. They are looking at which asset should I buy into. So they are definitely not considering gold as of now due to its high price. And when they look at digital assets and see Bitcoin, yeah, you don't definitely have to buy one full Bitcoin at the first. You would be buying a tiny piece just to try out. But when you look at the price aspect and try to see what is the fundamentals and all, that leads to different asset class inside that digital asset, which is the utility case for XRP, XLM, XDC, Quant, that stuff which will take out these banks. And we really can understand it really is happening. Now, this article shows why a Ripple will thrive during a global recession. If these economists are correct and what's happening is directly reflecting these, then this one really becomes important, right? Earlier this year, they actually talked about how global recession could benefit Bitcoin, right? When we are looking at that, how it can benefit Bitcoin, how this can turn out. But when we look at the entire banking side, they understand that the business, banking, governments, regulators all understand what happened back in 2008. They don't want that to repeat again. So what did it really happened during the time of Lehman Brothers? Everything went down, the liquidity got crushed and other stuff. Now, as this article is old, they highlight X rapid, XY, X current, but now it's actually combined and it's in the suite of Ripple products. And that's really impressive when banks, corporates and giants look at this. Now, why that is so important? Because when you look at liquidity, you are getting a new technology which is being embraced all over the world, and precisely some of the institutions like United Nations, BIS, which is the central bank of central banks, everyone is coming across using this technology and stating, wow, this is cool and this really is happening. And that is why we are seeing this kind of adoption and traction towards Ripple's technology and the asset which it proposes, right? So when you talk about that, at the same time, in the last video, we detailedly talk about instantaneous payments and how that is evolving. And that, really was important to understand as the economy was shifting directly towards an instant settlement system. Why? Because they never want capital to be trapped even for a little bit of time. that limits the ability of whether a small business owner, SME, or a giant, because the payment structure would be different between both of them, and they really don't want to get stuck in between during a recession like this. No one knows when the vaccine will be completely out, meaning you have 7 billion population. It's not just about making one small bottle and saying we succeeded. You really have to scale to a level where you will have to supply this for the entire population. Now, think you have 7 billion population in which 500 or say 1 billion or zero point 0.5 billion people travel across the world. You can't directly go into a population and say, come out, international travelers, come out, we'll give you the vaccine first. You can't say that, right? It's kind of discrimination. So you really have to scale up to at least 4 billion, 5 billion vaccines and deliver it across the globe. Look at every region. Just take my home country, India. You have rural areas where you won't have this international flight stuff. You'll have to take the road. A lot of barriers has to be passed. Now, once you need to prepare this 5 billion, 7 billion vaccines, then you have to deliver it there and execute that, meaning vaccinate everyone, right? So that's going to take a lot of time. So in that time duration, economy is still in the lockout mode, the plunge mode. It's going down. Rate recession, let it be a U-shaped for the entire recession itself, making the economy like this. It would give a lot of opportunities, I agree, but the time we reach that low creating opportunity is not now. At least for me, it feels like maybe coming up after 6 months, after 1 year, it can bottom out, but that would be after a huge capitulation. Now, when that capitulation happens in the stock market, personally, I think this really will play out. And when that is playing out, all of these fundamentals are starting to reflect in the price, and then the new fundamental comes out from the back stage. Now it's curtain. You can't actually clearly see who is who and how they are implementing XRP, right? The non-disclosure agreements are keeping us blind. But if you are actually going through all of these stuff, understanding this really is happening, because this price, it's psychology. Now, psychology is not only tied up with your money, it's also tied up with the fundamentals. Looking at the smart money, they understand that there is something happening in the background, which we don't know now, but they are insiders. They kind of know something. They have better idea. They have better perspective viewpoints than us. And then they start to accumulate, reaccumulate, move the price to the upside slowly without giving the entire market the idea that we are gonna go 100,000%. They don't actually give you that idea, right? If you see this particular area for BTC, it kind of came down slow, steady, then boom. Then again a bit of correction, boom. So those who understand that the market works like this would really have that benefit. Last time, first correction, yeah, it took around 40-50% to the downside, but it took some time to retest that area, that is reaccumulation phase. If you zoom out and look at this particular pattern here, that's something similar is being created here. And if you look at this particular pattern, expand it, then look at BTC, what it's doing here now, you will really understand that the same pattern is being created here. If you look at this on a monthly chart or 2-month chart and understand what pattern it is forming here, and look what it really did during this time, you will understand that is happening. It's all human psychology and price movements. So that is the reason why we concentrate more on technical and fundamental together instead of looking just one. So this perspective gives us an edge towards here. How will the cryptocurrencies fare in a recession? And we understand that this is going to be pumped. When the economy is going down, yes, the investor's mentality is going to the downside. But the general alternative investment search would lead towards a market which is ready to move to the upside, because everyone is looking for profit. Let it be you, me, or the smart money. Now, while I was looking at today's video, I really had another option because I came up with two topics. one better than other. I was thinking like that, and then I thought I'll present this one first because the next one I think it's much better than this, because it's showing, you know, how can I say, it's like new age Berkshire Hathaway, new age Warren Buffett type of value investing. It's really turning out for cryptocurrencies, all that kind of facts, documents and all. Now yeah, there can be chances that I'm stating this, someone else may do that video before I do that, but I already have taken executed the research and have some materials. But as that topic looks so interesting, I need to do much more research into that, collect as much as data as possible to to concrete the foundation on which I would be presenting the facts. So if you're watching this video, make sure you will watch the next video as well. That's going to hit a huge fundamental side for your brain. So guys, I hope you actually received value for your time, and if you did, please do support the channel, hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done that already. If you'd like to extend your support, open your heart and support the channel, you can use the Patreon, PayPal or the XRP wallet address given in the description below. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.